Atlantic Ocean, upon me hills, to country, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday, it's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information. Education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of On Point. The On Point crew is busy today or out. The On Point host, Mr. Jerome Gibman, is in Liberia, is in the mother's land. And so we're going to go on with the show. We're going to be discussing on Point a preview of President Boakai's second State of the Nation address. That's President Boakai's second State of the Nation address, which is scheduled for tomorrow in the nation's capital. That's at the joint convention, the joint chamber of the legislature. That's the place that was burned down. So, but they said no one market can start the show. So it goes on tomorrow, and we're going to be looking at the State of the Nation address. If you want to join the broadcast, please comment or call in and be a part of it. We want to be looking at the State of the Nation address to be delivered by President Joseph Newman Boakai tomorrow. That's how I want to start, right? What is the president going to be talking about? What are some of the things the president will be talking about? Normally, the State of the Nation, there are certain key elements that we are looking for, because the State of the Nation is mandated by law that the president report on the State of the Nation to the national legislature. So he's summoned by the Speaker of the House of Representatives to say, come and talk to our people on the State of the Nation. You've been in power 1 year. What is it that you have accomplished? What were some of the challenges? And what do you expect to do next year? Where do you expect to take the country next year? That will be the basis of the State of the Union. So to talk about that, the first thing I want to lay out for you what are the issues the State of the Nation typically addresses. The State of the Nation will look at an overview of the current state of the nation, of course, highlighting key achievements, outlining policy priorities, addressing pressing issues, proposing legislative actions, and often incorporating a call to action, all delivered with the goal of informing the public and setting the agenda for the coming year. It usually includes details on the economy, the national security, social issues, and foreign policy. So, number one thing we believe the president will be talking about will be doing an assessment of the nation's condition. That's a comprehensive overview of the current state of our nation. In that light, the president is going to be highlighting his accomplishments, of course, the successes of 2024, that's the first year in office. He's also going to be articulating his policy priorities, his most important policy goals for the coming year, including his legislative agenda. The president will also, talk about the challenges and the concern. He's going to identify significant problems and challenges facing the nation I mean, being the president of a country is no walk in the park. So we're going to be, that's what the president going to be talking about. Let us not forget, let's take you back to last year. Last year, the president was here, and it was just few days in office, and he addressed the nation. If you remember, this is what the president said. He said, our vision has revealed in Addresd, meaning agriculture, roads, rule of law, education, sanitation, tourism, shall guide the preparation of the new medium-term national development plan for the welfare of our people. We must harness opportunities in agriculture, roads, and other infrastructure development, improve the rule of law, rethink the education sector, improve sanitation, and unlock the potential of tourism. Those were powerful words. The president said he's going to unlock the potential of tourism. That's what he said last year. Okay, normally when you say something, the first thing we hold you by is what you said. So we're going to be looking at the president's State of the Union address for this year based on what he promised last year or what he said last year. Also, the president said, we believe that creating economic linkages between these development facets and reinforcing them will help reverse years of economic downturns. It was no secret the president saw that there were economic downturns. Remember, President Boakai was vice president under President Sirleaf some years ago. And then President Weah came for 6 years. So he said there have been economic downturns. We're going to reverse that. And this is how he described the state of the nation. He said the state of the economy, the state of the nation, the state of the economy is a cause for concern, with many of our citizens facing perennial unemployment and economic instability. We must not just recognize the pain and frustration that permeate our society, but also work together to introduce and pass legislations that will prioritize economic reforms that foster sustainable economic growth and job creation. President Boakai said that last year. That's what he told us. The president continued, we believe that creating economic, he said, we intend to change the state of the economy by thinking outside the box, a paradigm shift away from reliance on primary commodity export to focusing on value addition with the private sector as the engine to drive the economy. Under my administration, President Boakai promised, the empowerment of Liberian entrepreneurship through more support will help bring back the Made in Liberia quest for inclusive and sustainable growth and jobs. In our quest to expand the economy, we will leverage information communication technology in creating jobs, especially for our youth. To achieve this, my administration will train up to 10,000 young people in various digital skills in the first half of 2022. And let me end here. He said, to this end, we re-emphasize our earlier commitment to audit and ensure that regular audits will be a culture across all branches of government, not only the executive. Those were President Boakai's words from last year. So coming to this year now, what do we expect the president to be talking about? So the president is going to give us a comprehensive report on the state of the nation. And in that report, what we expect is he's going to be talking about the things that he accomplished or the good things. So we're going to be looking at what we think President Boakai accomplished when it comes to the economy, when it comes to rules, agriculture, education, security, health, the fight against corruption, and the rule of law. President Boakai is going to be reporting on those things, and I believe he's going to be highlighting the things that he accomplished. What did he do in terms of the fight against corruption? Well, this thing starts with accountability. We saw the creation of the asset recovery team, the ombudsman, and all these anti-graft efforts to be able to hold corrupt officials accountable. What we're wondering, though, is what is President Boakai going to say about asset recovery? I mean, the group was established, and to this point, it has not accomplished much. So, what exactly will the president be reporting on? Will something that we need to look forward to very, very uh, eagerly. All right. The president is also going to talk about the economy. People are complaining of U.S. rate, but as one economist put it, they're going to be looking at the numbers and what they are trying to accomplish through the different things that they have put in place. Already, the arrest agenda is being put out there, and there they outline what they're going to do next year. But before we get there, President Boakai is going to report on the economy. And of all the State of the Nation addresses I've watched, I have not seen where a president say, "Oh, things are bad." You're always trying to paint a better picture of what things will do, acknowledging some challenges though. President Boakai is also going to talk about roads. Remember, when President Boakai took office, he said 100 days no car will be stuck in the mud. And so the Public Works Ministry started to do some work for which he had to apologize, say, well, some of the things were done, I'm sorry, I did not get the proper authorization to do what I did. And also we learned of the 285 yellow machines that were going to come, and we have some in each county for road rehabilitation. So far, that has not yielded much fruits. The yellow machines, as we understand, are still parked, and there are still some red tapes around there. And so I'm wondering, what would President Boakai be reporting? There are some work done in the road. Some say, oh, he put 28 million in the mud. Also, agriculture, which is number one in the president's agenda, agriculture, being the former agriculture minister, and also talking about arrest. Number A is agriculture. The agricultural plan in Addresd looks very good on paper, but and there are some things that are being laid out. According to reports, the agriculture minister is working very hard to set the stage. But because of our problems have been for so long, sometimes we want to see quick results. And so sometimes when these things are not coming soon enough, people are kind of antsy about that. He will also be reporting on education. Education, when President Boakai, when he was vice president, it was described as a mess. How far has President Boakai done and what he has done? Currently, University of Liberia is closed. There have been some issues there. K through 12 education, I understand the education minister has been going around the country and gathering information, but probably too early to say that any significant change has been brought about in our educational sector. There were certain things that were put in place under President. We have free tuition, free WIAG and all those things. Those are still in place. And so we wait to see what the president is going to do differently. We understood that he brought in some chairs from China, which I believe those things could be, locally. So we wait to see what really the rationale behind getting all those things from China. President Boakai will also be reporting on security. Of late, people have been dying, and especially mob justice. Young women being killed by their significant other sometime. Of late, there was a report of a very young girl, Angel Weah, and was killed allegedly by her boyfriend, and she was supposed to be 3 months pregnant. So security-wise, there's mob justice. If you stole something, of course, there's been no external attack on the country. People, I understand, are moving around freely at night, but yet the conditions brought about as a result of economic hardships are still causing some trouble out there that people do not really feel safe. Health, those of us from afar looking in, we see that the health condition has really not improved when it comes to our hospitals. And the big one, which is the fight against corruption, as I mentioned earlier, many times the people from the previous government feel that they have been targeted. because the same things they've done for which they've been investigated or sometimes indicted, those same things are happening under President Boakai and nothing is being done. A case in point is with the party chairman. From the inaugural morning till now, we see some of those things that are still not being addressed. The rule of law, President Boakai, with the tenure and other things, there are a lot of questions raised about his respect for the rule of law. There has been reports of circumventing even the Supreme Court rulings on a number of issues. So we wait to see what president will be specifically be reporting along those lines. Another report that we're going to be hearing from the president, another thing that we're going to be hearing from the president is he's going to be setting his agenda for 2025. And the arrest agenda has already been laid out. It's 300 pages. When that was put out, a lot of people have problem comprehending an 8 billion budget, and you were saying the government is going to bring 30% of that, and the rest is going to come from outside donors, our international partners, or the private sector. You know, I have my brother described this. Say you are building the road from Monrovia to Kakata, and you are saying you will be responsible from Monrovia to Red Light, and the rest will be done by other people. So there are a lot of questions. You know, if you are, it's money. Money drives everything. So if the money is there, if we cannot come up with the money ourselves, how sure are we that we're going to do anything meaningful? So, but we're very hopeful in the arrest agenda and see what it's going to do. Another thing to mention here is these agendas or plans, they are nothing new. Under President Salih, we saw the PRS. I think Vision 2030 under President Taylor. President Weah was the PAPD. So what happens to this plan? If government is continuity, why aren't successive government kind of following through where the previous one stopped? But it's every time we are starting from scratch. So if President Boakai is there for 6 years, and this is an $8 billion budget, which I believe is going to go over 6 years, who is there to continue? So what I'm looking for in this one is if you didn't continue Weah's PAPD, or if you probably you continue and you borrow some lines from there, but I mean, who will continue yours? And that's the problem we continue to face when it comes to most of these plans. You have the plan, after you remove, people come and just grab the whole thing and toss it. So in that last year, he talked about some of it, the act for the transition. I think that act was sent to the legislature. So his legislative agenda, again, hopefully is going to be smooth, because if the trouble at the legislature subside and things are moving with Richard Coon, the speaker, we are expecting that everything will be in favor of Unity Party. So the president shouldn't have much difficulty pushing his legislative agenda, hopefully. And so we're going to see him lay out his legislative agenda and see what are the things that he hopes to accomplish, and to what extent he's going to work with UP legislators to be able to get to that. Fortunately for the president, he was able to get even the CDC lawmakers on his side to go against Speaker Funati Kofa. Maybe the same trend is going to continue, and he's going to be able to rally most of these lawmakers on his side to be able to push his legislative agenda. So basically, let's look at how did President Boakai do, or how did his administration do in 2024, say pass or fail, and what do we expect in the next 12 years? In 2024, there were many challenges. President Boakai came to power with experience, being a former minister, former director of LPRC, former vice president for 12 years. And because of his experience and age, there's a lot of expectation. So when my friend Amara Connor said, manage your expectation, I mean, he got a blowback, right? People were not happy that wanted people to manage their expectations. Well, those expectations were not managed, and a lot was put on President Boakai's plate. To be honest, I don't think that President Boakai met those expectations. Worst of all, President Boakai was not talking to the Liberian people. He did not, the president is the communicator in chief. He did not really communicate his ideas. When there were issues, he did not tell us what he was going to do. He did not inspire hope in the time of despair. When people were confused as what was going on, a case in point is what happened at the Capitol Hill. Okay, when people were confused, President Boakai was quiet. When people were confused about what, the economic situation, when things were very dire, we did not hear from the president. So that became a major drawback, because someone said, where there is no EFBC, then EFDC take over. I remember President Boakai once said he only talks when people are about ready to listen. And I said, no, sir. It's because of your voice that people should want to listen. When you have something important to say, if you can move the people, that's why a lot of leaders will have charisma, so that when you start talking, people want to listen and hear what you say, especially if people are in fear, if people are unsure what their tomorrow is going to bring. We are expecting the president to come up and inspire hope and make us to believe, make us to look forward to tomorrow, because we voted for you and want you to lead us. So when that voice is missing, I mean, there is not much we can hope for, because politics have dominated our society. The political awareness of our people is higher than ever before. And social media has made everyone, like a journalist, whoever has as long as you have a smartphone, you can operate a TV station. So with all the information coming here and there, we expect that the president will get up and talk and say something. Now you have an agenda. The talking to the people should not start with the state of the nation. You have the state of the nation, you have the arrest agenda that you put forth. You have to go and explain it. You have to promote it. And you have to rally the people around you. We did not see a lot changing. Salaries are still very high for the 1%, especially ministers and lawmakers. Our what they call the recurring expense, the money that we put on salary, so there's not much left for any development. So anytime we want money, we have to ask other people. We have to ask other countries for their taxpayer money to be given to us. And when they give us the taxpayer money, we put that in big salaries, right? What we are expecting, at least for this year, is for President Boakai to draw a line and say, Mr. Finance Minister, I want to see your budget where the recurring expense, the one for salary, should not go beyond, let's say, 30%. Because right now, that is like 80%. So all of the money that the country is generating is used to pay people and give them benefits that make them look like kings and queens. So President Boakai, what we are expecting is draw a line in the sand. If Senate representatives and senators are making 8 to 10,000, can you draw a line and say, give me a budget where no representative, no minister make beyond 3,000 or beyond 5,000? Anything other than that, I'm going to veto it. We want to see that. Well, previewing the president's budget, somebody want to join me here, and that's our Doodoo Boy, Ambassador Doodoo Boy Momo Fremont. Right here, I'm previewing the president budget and your PhD researcher. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for having me on.
All right. I'm glad that you came in. I've kind of been doing my little monologue to preview the president state of the nation. Okay, you have watched President Boakai state of the nation from last year and now this year. What do you think is going to be different this year from
Well,
last year presentation?
quite frankly, I'm expecting the president to talk more about education because I'm in the era of education.
Okay.
Politically, more often we are all political beings and love to talk about politics. But the thing that clicked to my mind this year is how best he can revamp the educational sector of Liberia. Apart from the huge budget and the budget expectation of others and also the income that is being, according to my former lecturer, double data that he has raised and other things, those should be given the president. But I'm hoping since the University of Liberia has gone through significant transition that he will be able to talk more about in revamping the education system of the University of Liberia, especially the state-run university. Apart from that, I also expect the president to tell me more about the agriculture initiative. What happened to the 285 yellow machines? What are they doing now? What are the prospects? Because his message is going to be centered around our arrest agenda 2025. I'm also interested to hear more about road construction and development. They are still complaining of road bar roads and other things in different counties as well. So these are a couple of things I'm expecting to hear from the president message the sooner that will be coming up. Apart from that, I'm also anticipating that the president will stress more about employment of young people. There are young people he has appointed into different positions. Most of them are of the same caliber. All of us, more besides, most of people he has appointed are people who are serving in previous government. What happened to those young people who are coming out here, getting their advanced education and returning back home? What happened to them? How do we help to motivate them into the governmental sector? You have people graduating from even the University of Liberia don't have jobs. Most of my colleagues who are the university and the engineering other programs at the University of Liberia do not have jobs. What happened to them? What are some of the level of empowerment? People graduating and going back to teach high school. I have one of my friends who is a very smart young man, did a BSc in civil engineering. You won't believe it. He's teaching physics at Race Institute. What happened to them? What happened to those kind of young people? It's kind of frustrating. So I want to be hearing more about youth-oriented and implementation and how best our young people can be empowered. Because we can't just be talking about everything about politics, everything about political affiliation. That for me, I don't have a political party right now. I don't have any political affiliation. So tomorrow, if I complete my PhD and go back like brother to support the country, it means that I have to go join a political party to get professional position from the president. So we want to be hearing how professional the president is making judgment on those he appointed into different positions.
Right. And this appointment, I want to piggyback on that. Those appointment, are we talking about people working in government? Because government we know is even oversized, it's bloated. We need to cut it down. So when you say absorbing these young people, where do we put them?
Well, you have National Civil Service Agency. The agency has a different position apart from appointees. Appointment position, they are positions like director, secretary. Some of the young people that, to be frank with you, like I was talking to a few of my mentees, the guy said he has sent, most of them have said they are sending their resume from one ministry to another, just to be able to get this civil servant job. It's difficult because why? Those who were appointed into positions are taking people of their caliber to put them into different positions. They are bringing people of their own nature who they feel, whether they have the qualification or not, they're bringing them to the ministries. So those who went to university and get the education and qualification now are having challenges to be able to feed in whatever they are studying and be able to get a job that is required. This is something that is frustrating. I mean, the man does not have to be a Unity Party partisan before you get.
But that's the problem, right? Because what the culture has been is if I get there and you are CDC, I get all the CDC first. Your Unity Party, I get all the Unity Party people out and bring in CDC people. If Unity Party get there, get all the CDC people and bring in Unity Party people. So now, if Dennis Jai doesn't belong to a party, I should leave my own with God. So unless that we change that, I mean, we're just going to be in that vicious cycle.
Yeah, Honorable Judge, this is a modern dispensation. We should not be discussing or doing these kind of things again. That was these are things that happened. But specifically, I want to accuse Eddie for that because she started that. These are things that happened during Eddie Johnson time. We should not repeat them in this modern era as we move on transitional politics. If the man, unless it's an appointed position, if it is not, or unless if there are position you want to put that person in, you can give the person, you can ask the person, can you serve, or will you be be able to take a civil servant position and work in this capacity? But to have the mindset, I know it's happening in the US, it's happening in other areas as well. But to have the mindset to kill, imagine you take job from somebody, you damage, you also have affecting their families. You also affecting their livelihood as well. Understand the economy of Liberia, the size of Liberia is very small. So if the man have a little meager resource job that he's doing, and you come out into power, instead of us working in a way and creating alternatives like help encouraging young people to apply in the private sector or encouraging the private sector to employ young people or employ generations who have met certain qualifications to work with different companies. We come and kill the person out of the job. What happened? It's something that is becoming alarming in our country. Not everybody had to be for you. Then not everybody had to be with your political party or you as an individual. For example, you are a presidential lead and you were as president of Liberia. I don't have to be with your political party to a point where you know I can do certain job that can deliver to the objective of the country.
Before you came in, I was talking about what the president is going to be reporting on. The president is going to give us a summary of what he accomplished. What do you think the president is going to be saying about roads and agriculture?
Well, the president is going to be telling you the project and agreement that have been signed for some of the feeder roads and roads already. Some of the negotiations he has made. Remember, saying the president took over January 2022 or 2024 or 2020. Is it 2024? Yeah. Since the president took over the last 1 year, the president has been making a lot of travels and a lot of trips, a lot of negotiations, a lot of having a lot of international meetings as well. So it is expected that the president is going to bring an update on what he has achieved over some of the travels, some of the agreement he has made, some of the business tycoon he has interacted with, some of the projects that need to be addressed currently, especially with his interest and background in agriculture. I'm sure he's going to stress more about the agriculture corporate initiative. I'm telling you, we have a luva soil in our country. People, we are not just waiting to invest into the soil. We're looking at one direction. So he's going to talk more about agriculture, what the Addresd has achieved, and what the Addresd going to be doing ahead of 2025 conclusion as well. Apart from that, the president going to also be thinking about how to create more opportunity. I know he's going to be also discussing about the 10,000 jobs. He's talking about he's going to be 10,000 training that he's going to be expected to train young people in science and technology or innovation or data science.
Let's stay on the agriculture for a minute. People are also, talk about the MOUs and all these things. But if we've watched this movie before, right? Almost every president will talk about the agriculture and the different things that they have signed. I remember when President Weah's second agriculture minister came in, it was like, okay, these are the things that we're going to do.
Yeah.
But if you want to look at, they say when you want to see where somebody priority lies, look at their budget.
Yeah, you're
how
right.
much are we committing to this? And we are most of the time we are counting, MOUs and even agreements.
Yeah.
I mean, we always have agreement. I mean, look at Firestone, right? So can we say, even though it's too early, can we say that the accomplishment will be these things that are being signed?
Well, I'm not hoping to hear so. Some of the things that have been done already, he may make reference to them in his speech, but he's not going to be specific because some of the things that have been done were done for previous government. To be frank, they are just in conclusion. So, but he's going to be stressing more on what he has done and what he's expected, what he has put in, some mechanism he has put into place ahead of his continuity in his leadership in the next couple of years. But if he's going to be stressing on those things that have been implemented by previous government and ended in his tenure, he might just make reference to them. But I'm sure the president want to talk more about the Addresd. I'm telling you, the Addresd thing he wrote, that is heartbeat. But I'm not seeing, I'm still to be corrected by the public. I really have not seen anything specific that have been achieved apart from the 285 machines that landed in the country. I have not seen the current ongoing, because our social media in Liberia is very, it can expose, it can tell you anything. like the next newspaper. So I really have not seen what has been done with those machines he brought. What county is currently benefiting? What county is currently implementing that arrest? What county is currently having the first feed of agriculture initiative? I saw individuals who have brought machine individual by themselves, like one of the young men who have been following with from Japan. He brought a machine that can do rice. I saw another friend, my friend from Boakai, brought another machine by himself that can kind of weed the rice and take the feeding on it as well. But I'm curious about Mr. President. If you're coming back to talk to us after you spoke to us in the speech, you come back to talk to us, give us tangibles, give us things that you have achieved in your first administration. I saw conglomerations of appointments. What are some of those appointments have led to? What are some of the people you are appointed has achieved in the shortest possible time before your SONA that is coming out? And secondly, what are some of the things you have planned, tangibles? Because politics is important. Politics has come and gone already. You have won the election. You have been inaugurated in the office. It's about action driven. So we believe in you. All of us were happy, to be frank, that we have a new president. With level of allegations and negativity on the previous president, said the previous president was this, was that. Now you that have been in power in government working for 42 years, you have come. But some of the things we are expecting to see, even in the first 6 months, you gave 100 days. We did not see some of the implementations. We not saw people, you only remodeled things that was already in existence. Like for example, you won't believe it, I was angry in my spirit when I saw the president reappointing Augustin Gafuan into Minister of Finance position. What happened to young people who got master's degree and PhD in finance and administration? What happened to young people who came instead and get experience to go back? I did not qualify to work in the government of Liberia. I did not curious to know the certain governmental positions. So I'm just curious. There's some of us struggling by ourselves to go to school and paying everything. We're working, doing all the sacrificial services. Tomorrow we'll finish school and go back or want to go support our country. Are we going to be waiting to get 80 or be 60 or 70 before getting the government and support the country? So these are things that really baffle me and worry me in my agriculture person.
Yeah, sometimes it really gets depressing when you think about it that way. That people, you have to like what the party chairman, Mr. Luther Tappe said, to swim in the poo water, because not everybody going to be dancing in the poo water. So what do we do as a country? But the yellow machines, for instance, which were supposed to be brought in, and the way they were introduced was kind of shitty. Let me use that word. But has that become an asset or liability? Because if they are still packed, it's been almost a year.
To be frank with you, Honorable Jad, they have become liability to us. Because remember, from the background of mechanical engineering, where I know I work on hands-on material, I even work on some of the motor grader machine during my few years when I just got in the US, because I have a hands-on mechanical knowledge. When you pack the machine with them down, there is a hydraulic fluid that gets corroded. And that hydraulic fluid, it gets corroded in the system, it has to be replaced. Apart from that, even the belts, the change, and everything had to be adjusted. Even the system of the yellow machine, the turbo fan, it gets corroded over a period of time where it's not active. So it has to be replaced. So, I mean, it might be indirectly the person might create additional job for mechanics or mechanics brothers and sisters in Liberia. Again, well, there's a job creation opportunity, but again, the person might spend more than what you expect. I don't know the technical analysis and feasibility study that people made to have those machines negotiated to go to Liberia. To be frank with you, before you take some kind of critical decision, you have to do a lot of feasibility study. Do you have expertise, or you might expect to bring expertise from overseas? Do you have people who understand what yellow machine operations? Do you have people who will be flooding all the country making sure those machines are running proactively? Because when you keep the machine on a condition of 24-hour working, it has some services that need to take place every time. People who are in Liberia, do you have people who want to vote MVTC or Boakai Washington Institute or BWR with the knowledge of hands-on mechanics to come and do what they need to do professionally? If some of the machines that need to be programmed, do you have people to program them? Do they have the capacity to program those machines and bring them to stability? Because they are all new machines. They need to be recalibrated every 6 months. Do you have people who have the capability to recalibrate them? So it's another kind of liability indirectly. But again, if they are currently on operation, I'm expecting the president to speak more about the short time the machine has arrived in Liberia. Why are the county currently benefiting? Because you're not talking about somebody who will go and just kind of allow the machine to work on an acre. Then you come and tell us, okay, that's a farm. An acre farm is not. We're talking about hectares upon hectares that it will decultivate to be able to make sure that we have people planting their own rights and other resources that will benefit the country.
Yeah, and that is very important, and not only the yellow machines, we also had issue with buses. So there have been a lot of unresolved issues. Okay, we there was this thing with buses coming from Ghana. They just came one day and they disappeared. We heard of scholarships that were coming, and it looked like they became a scam. Then, so there are a lot of unresolved issues. And then I mentioned earlier about the asset recovery. Okay, we all were hailing when they say asset recovery. We all jubilated when they talk about the war crimes court and all these things. But it appears that there has been little or no movement in those directions. Is the president going to tell us why, or is he going to say things are okay at those different fronts? What do you think?
Well, the president is going to speak about that. The first thing I know he's going to say is it's going to be that we have agreed, we have signed up for the war crime code of coming Liberia to the legislative branch of government. The legislative branch of government has approved everything that is ongoing. But well, I'm sure the crack thing that will be put into place to be able to ensure that action, not just paper signing, but the action is taking effect. At the one hand, he's going to talk about how have they been constituted. Who are those going to be in the foreruns, in the forefront of this, and how are they going to be implemented? So based on that, I think that's what you're going to be stressing on. But again, one of the key features that was worrying about the war crime, economic crime code is no longer in existence. One, it might kill the rigidity. And that people were trying to get to this person, or the person was worrying about it. But there are other people still on the list, though. There are other key people still there. But the president is going to stress more about the action aspect of the war and economic crime code coming to existence. The documentation process has ended. Maybe they're going to expect the Alan White and a few other guys from overseas to come and look at the feasibility study to be able to put into existence.
I don't even think Alan White is an expert in that area, but anyway, that's another story.
Well, that's another story, but that's the only guy who heard during the war now that was all into this.
We have some transitional justice guy, even though Aaron Weir just graduated.
Okay, let's talk about our guy, Councilor Jerome Vedder. Maybe these are the guys that's going to bring on board.
Aaron Weir just graduated, and then there is
Aaron Weir as well, yes.
Right.
And a few other guys.
Yeah, that young lady Tenen, we have all yet, but so will the president anyway? We may get more detail as what is the hold on, and you talk about Prince Johnson and that because there's more to that, right? The idea of a war and economic crime is not just to punish Prince Johnson,
of course,
but it's also to clear people's names, right? So if you were being talked about, there's a forum for it. And the economic piece is even, some people say, is even more important than the war crime piece, since a lot of the alleged war criminals are all dying. But a lot of money was stolen, and people are benefiting from the stolen wealth. And even today, they continue to enjoy that. And then victims of the war are still like nothing. So people are thinking along those lines also of the economic crimes court. But I'm curious to see what the president will tell us, kind of stop these things from moving with the velocity they had. Like the asset recovery, 2 persons resigned, and one of those who resigned, Martin Colley, is like a critic. The guy who was the rescue Rambo has become something else, right? Yeah. And with all this, the president, who's supposed to be the spokesman in chief, the president is not saying anything about these things.
You know why? The president reminded me like being used as a catalyst for other people to achieve their objectives. The president is not as anticipated, meaning that he will be clear on decisions when he takes some decisions. But there is a cloud around the president that remote controls some of the activities and directions of the president. Until that cloud is penetrated and deactivated, for the president to make individual or unilateral decision is difficult. To be frank with you, Everything the president does now, one, considering his age, considering his level of ability to do things, and also his health as well, the president does not take individual decisions. They are cloud. I don't want to be clear. I don't want to name people specifically because of professionalism. They are cloud that are controlled, that remote control the activity of the president. And that's my only greatest worry. Even who to appoint or who to give authority to or who to work in an area or a ministry area. These are the people that remote control the president. So let's be clear on that. We have to demystify this mindset of people working in areas of limited expectations and allowing professionally educated people to work in that direction to serve our country peacefully. Other than that, we'll be recirculating ourselves into different dispensation, in the different activity until the regime come to an end with zero achievement. Like we have started. 6 months has gone, nothing to show up yet. Year has gone, nothing to show up. We are still here. The president is still making an appointment. This president, remember, let me tell you, Dennis, I was in a group when I was in Japan in 2019. A group called a conference that was organized by the Japanese government called the TICA conference, TICA 2019. That conference brought conglomeration of about 9 ministers plus the president. I was in a meeting of that group. You know how the people are deciding our country? It was sad to note. All right, people are making decisions about our country just like having conversation, like having free flow conversation. And because why? I was there as a Japanese translator. I was translating Japanese for the president, helping the president to understand the Japanese language as he navigate through. So these are, when you listen to the way the people talk and talk about our country like they're having quality discussion, it worries you as a young person. So until that clique around the president can be destroyed or can give space to the president to make a decision that will support our country, it will be difficult. And also, we as Liberians, Dennis, we have to stop tearing down one another. That's one thing that is threatening our country. Our young people has been used as catalyst to destroy one another. I agree. Martin Cody was very active. My junior little brother. My father, we have a history from the same church, from the same denomination. The father is a pastor. He was our former national superintendent of the Wesleyan Church, and Martin grew up right in my hand. So I admire what he used to do. But I told him one day that, Martin, this thing you are doing might not survive when it don't go your way. It might not be sustainable when it don't go your way. And his father will call me sometime in the year, we'll debate, we'll interact, we'll talk, we'll look at the pros and cons and analyze it technically and come up. And I would say, this government would not give young people who have sincere thought about developmental agenda for the country outside corruption, would not give them chance to move or make their contribution in the direction that is befitting our country. Everybody seek their own interest. So the SONA, back to the SONA is a key time for President Boakai. Whoever is writing the speech of the president, there's a key time to focus on tangibles. Don't come bring 2016 or 20 or 25 pages or 40 pages and only everything about praising, and not saying what specific thing has been achieved or what specific thing will be achieved in a shorter time or what has been done. Whoever is writing the SONA of the president must look at things from holistic point of view. The president came to the U.S. several times. The president attended the UN General Assembly. The president met some government officials. The president has on tete-a-tete meeting with key Liberians across the United States before returning. The president met some business people. The president went to Saudi Arabia. The president went to other areas. What were the discussions? How healthy, how beneficial were they for Liberia? That has been my concern.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, we're doing a short preview of the President's State of the Nation address tomorrow. If you want to take part in the conversation, please call 605-313-6004. The code is 791-403#. Ambassador Taylor, let's look ahead.
Yeah.
Looking at 2024, what was accomplished or not accomplished, some of the pending issues, even in the term of justice, I wonder. I mean, during the election, the violence, people die in Foya and other places. I mean, up to now, we don't hear anything. You remember there was a young man who drove his car in the Unity Party headquarters, killing people.
I mean,
and you don't hear anything about these things, right? So,
exactly.
as we go into 2020, And then I think there was this issue with tenure, and kind of the president pulled back, or he probably accomplished what he wanted. Now the NEC boss is suspended. The National Bank, you have people still acting. Yeah, and somebody just made a King George situation. People are acting. So there are a lot of pending issues. Let's look at 2025. How do you think the president or the administration is going to kind of repurpose, redirect, and refocus and move ahead? And sometimes address, because some of these they say, you know, when you leave the intestine inside the fish, you roast it, it can't get done. A lot of intestine in the fish that we're going to eat for 2025. I mean, if those issues are not addressed, how hopeful can we be for 2025? And I just gave you a few of those issues that we really still don't have a plan.
To be frank with you,
how we go forward.
to be frank with you, there are a lot of open-ended issues that the president needs to address. If those issues are not addressed within this 2025, it will increase a lot of bitterness within the young people. Our generation will be frustrated, and there will be a lot of walk in the verbal chaos online of attack and dissatisfactions. And I know the president is somebody who is peaceful, loving, consistent, in respect of the legal proceeding of our country. I'm sure these are some of the things will connect with his mind to reconstruct a legal team, or if they have not been reconstructed already, to reconstruct a legal team that will go into investigation, that will investigate some of those things and come up with a logical conclusion that will be read or published in the local dailies. But if they are not done, it will increase the test of protection and safety, public safety. Now, I want to applaud my friends, my colleagues, and one of the guy who happens to be the current IG he used to be my childhood big brother. We grew up playing, and I used to hold his rubber band when he plays those stuff. Greg Okuma has been doing very well. He's been trying his best, but I think what they are doing currently is only within the corridor of Monrovia, not beyond Monrovia. I've seen a few times going to Buchanan and discuss about the innovation and also vocational training for these small guys. But I think the issues that are before him are also pertaining, are very material and very important for our democracy. So this is a time to help the president achieve those objectives or those things that took over in 2024 during his 1 year in power. This is a time to help the president legally and also the court. But if our system continue to cross carpet or close their eye on some of those implementations that were done, or those things that was undone, if they continue to close their eye, it will affect the governing system of our country, and it will affect the president achieving an objective. Dennis.
And one area I want us to look at is people working with the president, because government is a whole big animal, right? Mm-hmm. Everything is on the president's head because the buck stops with him. But people who raise their right hand to swear and say, "I'm going to uphold the duties and function of this office," mm-hmm. we don't hold them as accountable as much as we hold the president. Mm-hmm. I mean, if somebody is a police inspector general, mm-hmm. I mean, and sometimes like those of us who were growing up during the Doe era, where everybody tried to please the president. And even a dictator as Doe or Charles Taylor is not going to send everybody to go and do this bad thing, go and steal this money. But people are very much anxious to represent the president's interest, that they are doing it for him. And so you can be even a Supreme Court judge, you want to please the president. You can be an IG. You can be the justice minister. You want to do things that will just favor the president or the power that be. Yep. I mean, look at the police. If you look clearly at the investigation on the fire at the Capitol building, right? Yes. Why is it just focused on the so-called minority bloc? That you are laser focused one way, and it appears that you have something preconceived that you are going after. Let's look at justice minister, the only person allowed to disagree with the president. You want to still say things that are going to please the president. Let's look at Supreme Court that will give a ruling that is not too clear to everybody because you want to just leave it that way. Let's look at a teacher, abusing students. But yet what I see is we don't hold these people as accountable as much as we do the president. Why can't you do what is right? And if you are fired, let it be. What do we expect the president to do with people working with him? His cabinet. People say the first year cabinet has a thank you cabinet. Do we expect to see reshuffle? Do we expect to see people from different who are not part of the Unity Party or who did not swim in the proverbial poo-poo water now joining the cabinet to work? Is that what we expect to see for President Boakai? This time, do we expect him to go to the southeast? Because there is this north and southeast divide that is in the country that is kind of coming in. We heard that during the campaign that people say, oh, people from the southeast are no good. We got Tubman, we got Doe, we got Weah. We don't want them to be president or anything anymore. And sometimes even 2017, something like that came up, and Vice President Boakai, did not talk. When people say, well, he's tribalistic, he's this. How did the president, what would be his reshuffling and things, people that you're going to bring in, and how does he tend to address the issue of bringing the country together?
Yeah, the president, I'm sure this is a time for unification. The president being a peaceful person whose name has never appeared in any area of negativism. I'm sure he's going to put, if he has not started, but he's going to use our traditional leaders. He's going to use the legal framework within his jurisdiction. He's going to use every medium of plausibility to be able to ensure that sanity, respect for the rule of law, people living in accordance to the do's and don'ts of Liberia and the do's and don'ts of our country are adhered to. This is the time. 2, the president the president might mention in his conversation or in his arrest or in his SONA about things that he was preparing to do that were those mechanisms that was placed into perspective, and now moving forward, the implementations that are going to be done in 2025. I'm very convinced and convicted, owing to the fact of previous SONA or previous messages from other presidents and how he has been proceeding along the line. I'm very sure the president is going to state things that he has done or has not been completed, but those things will be done in 2025. Legally, when it comes to those violations or other things that have been done, like the destruction of the Capitol Hill, the Capitol building, and the King George LaJoy situation, the one that even happened, the people who die along on the Bon County Highway, from the 10 people are still crying about seeing how the government can come in and make some contribution towards helping their family, gain stability. Some people lost everything. Some children who are homeless, whose parents were victimized for a fire disaster and everything. The president now, maybe he has constituted. If not, he has constituted a group to take observation or take responsibility of making sure to bring results for those different occurrences. But one of the things I'm sure that will baffle me if I don't see it in the arrest of the president is the forward march of the University of Liberia. Meaning, with the way they had new president, why are the new educational plans go? 2, people who were suspended, the corrupt brothers and sisters who went to government for the first time with speed to benefit so quickly without understanding the terrain management or without understanding what to do, the do's and don'ts to help our country. The president is going to make comment on those suspended as well. What are some of the legal things that's currently ongoing? Apart from that, the president is also going to be making efforts on trade that has been done. Remember, there was this one thing, Coastal Highway, that was in the discussion many years, right?
Yeah.
The Coastal Highway that was in discussion, even during early Judge's son, that Coastal Highway was being discussed. And I heard from a close confidant from the president that the president is so much interested into that. The president is also interested, if you see Jonathan, the back of Jonathan, where you have the Do River. Is that Do River? Yes. Where you have that river, most of that river, whatever name you call it. They're going to ensure that they have some jet skis sport activities, try to build our entire place around the better art and everything like that. Well, how it's gonna be done, I don't know about it because I don't know much detail of financial resources have been governors, but I'm convinced that you and I sitting here understanding the international activities and how things must go in a perspective order to meet the do's and don'ts of our country. We have to go through certain procedure. We are expecting to hear what the president is going to do on those stuff. So basically, legally, the law has been violated. People are disrespecting our country, the law of our country, the constitution. And one other thing I would say before I conclude, before we close the show, is the president needs to take key observation. The president is playing some political game with the ongoing saga at the Capitol building, and that is something I will discuss later on before we close, when we kind of slip off from the SONA a little bit.
Thank you. I pick up something from the president's SONA from last year. He said, having received funding through the government of Japan, we will begin construction of a 4-lane road from Gibraltar Bridge to the Freeport of Monrovia. Additionally, the government of Japan is expected to provide funds to expand the Gibraltar Bridge to 4 lanes. Let's conclude to say, okay, and you can give grade if you want, or you can just say pass or fail. Overall, how did the president or the government or the Boakai administration do in 2024? What would be your conclusion?
To be frank with you, if I even get 30%, then I'll be worrying. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All has been appointment, confirmation. I've not seen any, with the section of 1% I would give, maybe it's a yellow machine. But I've not seen the implementation. 2024 has not been good for the president. Several appointments with limited implementations. So I feel that 2025 will have a new direction. The SONA will not be as what we expected to be. Let not be too fast to conclude. Let not be too fast to celebrate the president. But I'm convinced the president will have, there will be a lot of things that will be off air, that will be distracting, that will not cause the expectation that one will expect.
We're going to be here tomorrow, 7 o'clock, to do an analysis of the president SONA. Nobody call in, so I think we're going to be drawing down the curtains. And so,
yeah, as I make a logical conclusion on this curtain today, I just want to inform you. I am taking aback on few things that are going on in our country.
Okay.
Young people are tearing down one another. Young adults.
Yeah. Being paid by politicians or just hoping.
Yes. We need to stop that. It's destroying the fabric of our country. We came from a long way. We struggle to be where we are. Instead of all elevating one another, we are destroying one another. It's not a good thing for our country. 2, the president has appointed the new regime for the University of Liberia. The lady is very new. He needs to provide people or ensure that people who work with her can show her the way forward for the development of our university, and ensure that the university is giving the needed support for expansion and renovations. I mean, when I last look at the picture of the University of Liberia, it does not represent us. Some of us who went through the walls of the university, we are very concerned about that. There's now the time that we need to step up our game to increase the engineering programs. You cannot have bachelor student teaching bachelor student. You cannot have master student teaching PhD student. You have PhD program in the University of Liberia, you don't have the required doctoral qualifications to go and teach PhD program. People going to get PhD in psychology, PhD in this one, accounting. These does not survive in the Western world. You and I see what is going on within our system here. So I want to call on the president, as he appoint presidents, that he look at within the faculties, the staff, to see who have the regular qualification, not only with the PhD, how many publications that person has done to ensure that they have them on file to be able to help to strengthen the University of Liberia. Lastly, I want to be also concerned about the employment of young people. We need to encourage young people who are graduating from the University of Liberia to be able to work in private or positions of national service agency, to be able to give them support as well. You cannot go through the World University of Liberia and still struggling to survive. It's challenging. Young people are challenged. And those young people who are competent enough to go for advanced education, let the president take politics or personal interest from vetting government scholarship or bilateral scholarship. Young people who are qualified and competent to go into different positions must be given the opportunity. A young man who commented on the Facebook, he's so frustrated. The reason there is this guy is implementing a single-handed project in Bond County to build a community college in Swakoko. You won't believe it. He had a connection already with the last people government to build our college. And there was 500 bags of cement being donated. He started the project, but everything came to stand still when Boakai took over. Let the president try to see young people who are making significant effort to going back and supporting our education system to support them. These are people to look around, to look for. We are happy. We will be happy to celebrate with the president if the right thing that needs to be done is done in the right perspective. But Dennis, thank you for the opportunity. And I look forward to discussing more on science and innovation the next time you call me here. God bless you.
Thank you so much for joining in. I want to thank our viewers for watching. Tomorrow, join us 7 o'clock, where we're going to be doing an in-depth analysis on the President's State of the Nation address. Until then, we're going to conclude with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." Have a good night and God bless you.
We are Liberians.